I think we should tackle is Tory Lanez's Daystar album. Tory Lanez is very controversial Daystar album. What you think about it?
Controversial indeed. You know, I want to make something very clear before I even talk about the music, or even just the album and what the album means and yada yada yada. Um, Everybody knows what the hell has been accused and said in the media. We don't need to rehash that. We know who accused who of what. We know Megan Thee Stallion accused Tory Lanez of shooting her. We know Tory Lanez, if you heard the album, said I didn't do it. Let's put that aside. At the end of the day, we don't know what's true. This is the statement. If I'm issuing a press release for the podcast, we don't know what's true. We're just consuming the music, period. That's from our PR team officially speaking. Now, we have a music show. We talk about music commentary. That's what we do. How can a music album, especially one this controversial, especially one from a dude Tory Lanez, is this talented, how can he drop and we not talk about it? You know, like, I don't want to be one of these platforms, these people out here that are staying away from these touchy subjects. We are called the ill-advised wise guys for a reason. Okay, can we stick true? We're gonna stick true to that name. All right. So with that being said, I'm gonna put that aside. Tory Lanez dropped a new album called Daystar. For those of you guys who are not familiar with what Daystar means, that's actually Tory Lanez's first name, which is a very odd name. But he put it in caps. And I don't really know. I'm assuming that's Tory Lanez on the album cover. I don't know, but I'm assuming it's him. I always like when artists put their baby pictures and childhood pictures on the cover. Like, that's just always tight to me. That will never not be tight. The music, though, I thought was very good. I mean, Tory Lanez is a phenomenal musician. What do you guys want me to say? What do you want me to say? You want me to cancel him? You want me to say that his music is not good because he's being accused of things in the media? I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it. But what I will do is I will address and listen to the music in the best way I know possible, and that's consuming it and trying to figure out whether it's fire or not. I thought that from a substance and content standpoint, I thought Tory Lanez did an incredible job at flipping what many people will call a negative into a positive, right? People criticize Tory Lanez about the release of an entire album addressing his allegations. I will agree that's a little distasteful. It seems a little off. Something quite doesn't feel right. Leaves a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I will agree with you guys. But I'm not about to go any further than that, because if anyone out there is an artist, and I know everyone's not an artist, but if you are an artist, and I am one, I used to be one, I get it. I understand the power of music. Music is not just entertainment for people, as people think. A lot of it is therapeutic. A lot of it is them actually addressing real shit in their lives and them venting. It's how people get through with things. And so if they're going to make $1 off of their name and address a body of work and allegations in the best form that they know how, I can't be mad at somebody for doing that. We get into the music, and I got to tell you guys, this album is phenomenal. It starts off with a banger. Money Over Fallouts. Tory Lanez is addressing his critics. I mean, come on, man. What do you guys want me to do? The song is tight. Like, it's one of the best songs on the album. Like, for real. Incredible song. For real. He's rapping his ass off. And here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. There's a lot of people who probably didn't know who Tory Lanez was before all of this, shit. And they probably heard about him now. I want to let y'all know who I'm talking to for this particular moment, that this is what Tory Lanez does. If you were wild or you were amazed at the music that you heard on this album, please, I want you guys to understand that this is regular. That's regular. Tory Lanez is an incredible artist. Money Over Fallouts is typical Tory Lanez in his element, rapping his ass off aggressively, just being arrogant, doing what he does. He did a really good job at switching it up on various parts of the album, right? Next song was A Woman, very vulnerable joint. So without going through all of the songs on the album, because it was a very dynamic album, I'm just going to point out some of my favorites. Money Over Fallouts, I talked about it. Friends Become Strangers, very, very good song. Sorry, But I Had To. Can make an argument that's one of the better songs in the album. A Poem From Me to You. I don't know why he sounded like DMX on that. That was just strange. Like, why did he write a poem where he was rapping? He sounded exactly like DMX. And a dog with a gun light. And I don't know why the dudes is hating.
What you know about DMX poems? What the hell you know about that in his prayer?
Me? You're not talking to me.
Again, get a break.
Listen, all I want to hear is right here, my nigga. We here, nigga. Listen, DMX is my dude. I told you guys all the time, DMX is the first album, Flesh of My Flesh, Blood of My Blood. It's the first album I ever owned. That's my man. We're not about to have a debate about DMX. Anyway, Most High. The Most High is just the joint he shot a video for. Incredible video. You need to check that out from an artistic standpoint. Look How God Works and Queen and Slim round out my favorite songs from the album. I thought, again, the album was very dynamic. He showed a lot of vulnerability. He expressed his opinion on his accusations. He switched up his flows. He sounded like everybody in the game, like he always does. And I don't even think that's an insult at this point, because I feel like he's doing it on purpose. This album is great. I am going to give this album a solid B, because it deserves it, and it's arguably going to get a higher grade from me. And I really want to say this is going to be controversial. This album deserves Album of the Year status. I'm sorry. The quality of music, what the album meant, the tone, everything about this album to me screams like Album of the Year candidate. It's not going to win it. I'm just saying it should be regarded. If it wasn't for the allegations, it should be in there. I've been talking for a long time about the album. I want to know what you have to say, though, man. This is a phenomenal album.
Let me ask you this. Yeah. Why is it only a B? What was why isn't it an A?
I knew that question was coming. Here's my answer. This album is a B because, to me, there were parts of the album that didn't quite hit for me. While Tory Lanez does not make bad music, I can honestly say towards the end of the album, it got a little flat. Like, I promise you, like after Queen and Slim, like the What's Culture, I wasn't really feeling it like that personally. The Solar Drive at Night, it's all right. Bittersweet is cool, but I didn't love it. And then things I should have, like, to me, it started out well. The first half of the album was really good. And I just thought musically, it didn't really match the first half. This is my personal opinion. So to me, I had to knock it a little bit. But again, it's not bad music. It's just, it wasn't all the way fire. Every song to me wasn't consistently fire. It had a drop off. That's my opinion.
Okay, that's fair. Just a question. No wrong answer. My favorite Tory Lanez album is I Told You. I've replayed Tory Lanez I Told You over and over again. It's kind of my go-to album when I just feel like hearing music, period. I can honestly say that this album is his best, Daystar, from a quality of music standpoint and from just in terms of important. Like it's intriguing, it's important, it's meaningful. It's his most important album to date. Here's the thing about Tory Lanez, right? Before the whole Megan Thee Stallion situation came about, he was like as close to reaching his pinnacle as an artist as close to reaching the best version of himself as an artist. So I wasn't surprised by the quality of music. You throw this situation into the fray, and now you have a person that is still striving to be the best version of himself with a chip on his shoulder. Now, let's be real. Tory Lanez' situation with Megan Thee Stallion is a situation that I actually personally thought he needed expertise. Like, you need experts to get yourself out of this situation. Like, you actually need like a group of, I don't know what you would want to call it, a group of uh people that just know, spin artists. You would need ultimate spin artists to get yourself out of this situation. Like, this is, you know how Denver Nuggets were getting out of the NBA playoffs 3-1, 3-1. This is if you got out of a 7-1 hole in the NBA playoffs. And so I'm not here to tell people, the world, that Tory Lanez got himself out of this sticky situation with Megan Thee Stallion. I'm not here to tell people with this album, Tory Lanez is now somebody we can all open up with open arms. I personally don't think he'll ever become that. Even if he came out as innocent, I don't think he'll ever get back to where he was in terms of how he was viewed by his peers and people. But, however, he did an amazing job of cutting his losses. This album was, forget the music. Forget F the music. This is ill-advised wise, guys. We are paid to be ill-advised. Forget the music. The music's great. I'm not surprised by that. He's a great rapper. He's a great singer. I mean, look at the performances that he put up. The second song on the album. Did you see that performance that he put, or did you hear that performance he put up as a vocalist? Somebody who was reaching crazy ass notes and just switching up styles of music. Fantastic. I'm not surprised by that. He is somebody I've continuously said is probably the best artist in music today. I've said that multiple times, and I continue to say that. He's like the best artist in hip-hop music, especially hip-hop music today. I'm not surprised by the music. But let's be real. This was an artist that was telling his truth and doing it in a way that was beyond intriguing, beyond riveting. Like, I had to play investigator while I was listening to this joint. I had to literally put on my Dateline hat. I felt like I was listening to a music version of Dateline. Yo, whoa, he's attacking Kalani. Whoa, he's attacking JoJo. Whoa, he's opening up about his Megan Thee Stallion relationship. Whoa, like, he's over here calling out rappers and saying people are being they're being hypocrites. Like, for him, the bravery to make this album, the scrotums that you gotta have to make an album like this in this climate is, I gotta give him credit for that. I got to give him credit for that. Like, you know what I love? I love when people take advantage of the situations that they're put in. I love that. Like, you know, at a certain point, Chris Brown, right? Somebody that faced a very similar situation with the whole Rihanna thing. Before Chris Brown had his situation with Rihanna, Chris Brown was making bubblegum music. Literally making bubblegum music. I'm talking about, he was in a commercial. He was in a Wrigley's commercial for bubblegum or whatever, gum, right? He was literally making bubblegum music. Situation with Rihanna happened. Everybody want to call him a bad boy. He played the bad boy role as good as anybody can. And to me, I think his career actually got as good as it gets. I can honestly say Chris Brown probably would have been irrelevant if he did not turn into this bad boy. He would have been he would have been irrelevant. He would have been irrelevant if he did not. Personally, I think the bad boy R&B look is so good for him. It's so next level. And that happened as a result of the whole Rihanna situation. I'm not sitting here saying he's a good dude or anything for the whole Rihanna situation, but I forgive him. But, you know, that situation looked bad. Tory Lanez, I love the fact that Tory Lanez didn't sit here and give us a sob story. He didn't sit here and be like, yo, I'm about to just tame it down and say sorry. he's willing to play villain on the album. He's willing to play innocent person on the album. He's willing to call out people that he feels wasn't on his side. Like, if you just think about the music in that point of view, the approach, it is a phenomenal body of work. And like I said, I'm not on his side. I'm not picking sides with Tory Lanez and Megan Thee Stallion. At the end of the day, I don't know what the hell happened in that car. I know what I believe, but I don't know what the hell happened. But from a standpoint of trying to dig yourself out of a hole, from a standpoint of the whole world is against you and you drop that, that is equivalent to you are an NBA player that everybody thinks you're trash and you got one game to win to keep your career alive and you drop 50. That's what Tory Lanez did to me, and that's why I'm so impressed with it, man.
I like that, and I want to say one thing before I even go any further. You know, I already know what people are gonna say. Not that I even give a damn, but I already know what people are gonna say. But it's worth acknowledging. Amongst all of this, someone actually got hurt. Like Megan Thee Stallion, legit. Right? According to her, she was injured. She said she got shot. She showed pictures. We're not about to debate on whether or not she's telling the truth because we honestly don't know one way or the other. Both people are defiantly saying one way or the other. She said she got hurt. We got to acknowledge that. Black women are being hurt. We have to acknowledge that type of pain. However, within the same token, there are people who, to me, have a voice as well. And I think Tory, like you said, is speaking his truth. We don't know what happened. But I'll be honest, there were parts of this album where I said to myself, man, is Tory telling the truth? Like what? Like I got chills on various parts of this album. And I already know you fuck with Tory's music on that level where you probably get chills as well. The fact that you said you listened to I Told You mad times, to me, lets me know how you feel about that album. Like it's beyond music with you, right? It's like the music, it resonates so well that it's no longer music. It's kind of just like, it's an experience, right? How Tory Lanez was talking at the end of Sorry But I Had To, where he was like, yo, I'm Super Saiyan 5. He was very demonstrative. That's Tory Lanez, but I got chills. And I just want to put that in perspective for people that we don't know what's true and we don't know what's not true. But what we do know is that Tory Lanez had the audacity, the unmitigated gall to drop an entire body of work where he is seen as the villain. And I think he plays the villain quite well because, again, his first album was called I Told You. To me, that's already you coming out the gate with a chip on your shoulder. He's used to that role. This is a little bit different because he is now being accused of doing something violent. But nonetheless, he is used to being the David in the David and Goliath type situation. It's clear to me. And so with that being said, musically speaking, which is what we are here for mainly on this show, I got to give it up to Tory, man. He delivered on this project, and it was very impressive. Very impressive. Because I think most people would fold. Most people would fold. They would go in the corner. And I ain't even going to say I wouldn't do the same. I might fold. I don't even know what I would do, right? But to me, I'm watching this, and I'm like, for someone to be accused of something like this, to be vilified for months online, to be crossed by his friends in the industry, maybe even some of them he thought was real friends, right? He was supposedly dating Megan Thee Stallion, so he was crossed by her too, if he's saying she's lying. So this is a guy, we got to put ourselves in the mind of someone who feels like they've been unjustly crucified, right? And there weren't any criminal charges still, as of today, to back up any of those claims. Listen, I don't know what's true, but what I know is true is that this album is fire. End of story. And for those of you guys who choose to not listen to it because of the circumstances, hey, that's on you. But just know you're missing out on a fire album. I have to point that out. This album is fire.
It's fair. I mean, in the end of the day, what is music? What is the purpose of music? Like, why do a lot of people listen to music is because they want music to feel good, to make them feel good. If you
Yep.
have anger towards somebody, because remember, like, this situation kind of highlights domestic abuse, it highlights violence, and it can be a trigger for certain people where it's like,
Absolutely.
man, I was in a relationship where somebody did something like that to me too. And let's be real. Tory Lanez is a very unlikable person. I've said that to you behind this
1000%.
podcast. He's a very before this happened.
1000%.
Very
He's
unlikable
been
person.
very goofball-y. He's done a lot of goofball shit.
He's I mean,
Bitch ass shit on numerous occasions.
I mean, it's his arrogance rubs a lot of people the wrong way. But you got to remember, like, Joker's winning Oscars. You know what I'm saying? One of the greatest characters in the movie history was Laz, to me, in my opinion. Alonzo, I said Laz Alonzo. Alonzo from Training Day. Denzel Washington, that character, that's the greatest character Denzel Washington has ever played, in my opinion. And we talking about he's played an angel. He's played with the preacher's wife. To me, his greatest character was evil drug dealer.
He played Malcolm X.
So exactly. So at the end of the day,
man.
You can say you don't like Tory Lanez and all that, and I get it. And some people don't like the villain, but the performance that he put up as the villain, as someone who is literally trying to win back the hearts of a lot of people that put him in the dirt, that is I can't lie. It was impressive. It was impressive.
I gotta say the same.
Still reaching his peak.
Yeah. Yeah, we could probably go into a little bit more depth, but I think that's a good cap on the album. I do want to get your grade. What was your grade?
About an A-. I thought it was a fantastic body of work. Fantastic. If you listen to the quality of the music, I understand that you said some songs didn't hit you, but if you listen to the quality of those songs, they're fantastic. It's unlike something I've heard in a while. I've not heard this level of music, this level of edginess, this level of versatility, this level of quality. Even the instrumentals that he rapped over were fantastic. Like, I've not heard this level of music in a while. So
yeah, it's a riveting project. It's a riveting project. Like, just, yeah, it was great. I respect those who don't want to check it out, though. I really do. So that's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, listen. Y'all don't have to listen to it, but I'm just saying, if you're on the fence, because there are people on the fence. There's a lot of people who are like, I don't like what this stands for, but I like Tory Lanez music, but I don't want to support it. I'm just letting y'all know, if you do decide to listen, just know that the shit is fire. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying.
And another thing too is, I would probably say more people chose not to listen to it. They chose to listen to it. And
so.
I will say, we talked about this offline. Probably this is gonna be the last comment I say. I noticed that a lot of reputable music blogs, music sites, a lot of influencers in music decided not to touch it. Also, there was actually, I was looking at some of the search results for the album, and I believe it was either Vibe. I don't want to get this wrong. It was a big magazine site or whatever. Literally said this album is worse than a bad album.
Nah,
like it was clear and obvious biasness. I mean, it was pretty much saying that it was like a person is something that like we should not be applauding as good, and I've heard that a lot.
So you remember how, and to be honest with you, we could probably off of the Tory convo. Maybe we can come back to this at a later episode. Maybe we can do this now. Maybe we can do this at the end of this episode. I don't know. Or maybe we could not talk about it at all. The topic I have out of this whole Tory Lanez discussion, though, that I noticed is, to me, this is why music is subjective, right? Because there's real world implications that impact how you receive music, right? So can I say that those people are wrong? I mean, granted, I can debate. We can debate whether or not a publication should be unbiased, should be biased or unbiased. That's not what I'm getting at. But I'm saying, are we going to be mad that somebody chooses to do something with their platform and say, I'm not going to support it? And so, what do real world implications do for the listener and how they receive music? Because to me, it's clear that the world impacts the way you receive music. It just means something different to every person. Every person has their own threshold.
I agree with that.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I agree with that. Let me tell you actually a funny story real quick. I know we keep extending it, but real quick, let me tell you a funny story. I went to a rogue church. I'm going to call it a rogue church. Where people were over here talking about they were prophets, giving me money, blah, 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 blah. And I'm sitting there, African church, like, is craziness, right? Mm-hmm. But there was something that somebody said in that church that struck a chord with me. The person said, in this church right now, like, if Jesus was sitting in this church right now, he would have no problem if the devil was sitting there with him. Like, he would have no problem, because it's one of those things that you have to be able to endure the things that are here to hurt you. You have to be able to say, hey, like, I don't want to, you're letting it win. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're letting the devil win when you're not able to sit face to face with the devil and attack the devil, or you're not able to put up with some of the evilness that comes around. You know how they always talk about Martin Luther King was the one that would sit at the table with the oppressors? Mm-hmm. So when I heard that comment, it changed my mindset to where I need to learn to be able to listen to things that I may not necessarily agree with. I need to be able to, something that's toxic, withstand, be in the ring with something that's topic. Ironically, you said on Most High, Tory Lanez is fighting the devil, right? He's in the ring with the devil.
Bro, you got to watch it. I was just about to bring that up. That was exactly.
I saw a snippet of it, but it's like, you got to be able to do that. So for me, I'm not going to sit here. I'm not nowhere near close to Vibe or any magazine or people that didn't want to cover it. Right. But I think there is value in being able to not agree with somebody, not even think that what the person did is evil, but to be able to sit there and actually have a conversation about what that evilness brought. So, like, if you're somebody that thinks Tory Lanez is trash and something, whatever, I think you become a stronger person if you're able to listen to it and take it, because that makes you stronger. I'll tell you, the funny thing is, I never listened to Yeezus. This is before I was a reviewer, before we had the podcast, I never listened to Yeezus. I never listened to the game's Jesus,
Jesus Peace. Jesus Peace.
I never listened to it because I was like, I can't stand these people, like, putting these blasphemous, like, thoughts into albums. I skipped it. Still to this day, I've not listened to Yeezus. I've listened to maybe a snippet or a song or two, but I was like, I can't listen to a full album of somebody calling themselves Yeezus. He has a song called Featuring God. And I was like, that's blasphemous. But now, like, my mindset now is like, yo, like, I need to be able to withstand such blasphemous, come out the winner in these situations, come out not fazed by it. You don't want to be fazed by the devil. That's how you beat the devil.
That's a good point. Hey, you heard Kanye West's recent album. What's the shit called?
Jesus is King now.
Right? So now he's giving praise to Jesus and not saying that Jesus is on the album as a feature. Like, on Yeezus, did he give God, like, a percentage of the record? Like, how did that work? Like,
but tithing, right? It's better do the tithing.
I don't know, man. But yeah, no. That's a good point. I mean, yeah, dude.
But essentially, sorry, let me say this. Essentially, what Tory Lanez was able to do was to get some major reputable people to not do their job. if your job is to highlight the best music, whether you like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, he made them not do their job because he had you in your feelings so much you didn't even want to post about it.
Right. Yeah. You know, ultimately for me, my position on, you know, whether or not a music publication should cover music at all costs is that they should do just that. Like, stop putting biased position, stop making biased stand. Now, listen, there are exceptions. I want to say that if someone did some pedophilia, like if there were like something that was clearly problematic to where they were convicted and there was a whole bunch of other shit that, you know, like there has to be more to where to me you have to stand on taking those types of positions. This is just my opinion. But until then, to me, you're a publication. Cover the artist. Like here, I give you another example. Remember when XXXTentacion music got taken off of Spotify, the Spotify playlist, because he was going through that domestic violence court case with his baby mom, right? It took his music off of playlisting and all of that shit. They did the same thing with R. Kelly, like took all of his music off of playlisting. And while they have the right, they as in Spotify and all these other platforms have the right to do it, I'm not questioning their right. I'm questioning their consistency and their mentality with why they do it. Like, I just feel like these publications are too fickle and they move at the whim of the crowd. As soon as there's an uproar, they fold. Right? Mm-hmm. What happened after XXXTentacion died? All of his music went back on the playlist. So now is it? And actually, by the way, it went back well before he died. I want to be very clear, right? It was very, very brief where they took it off, but then they put it right back on. I just think a lot of people put their personal feelings and mix it in with business and mix it in with things that are not really of concern in my opinion. And I think that's misguided. I really do. It's misguided.
It's irresponsible because the case is pending.
Correct.
It's irresponsible. The case is pending. Now, you can believe what you want to believe, but nobody has been found guilty. I don't even think Tory Lanez has been charged yet.
Bro, he hasn't been charged with he has not been charged with the alleged accusation. Sorry, he hasn't been charged with the accusation. I'll say that.
Hip hop is.
Come on, man.
Hip hop in general is dark. Like, let's be real. So, if we really wanted to cancel all the crazy stuff, like we would cancel all the drug talk. Like, you can let them talk about drugs, you can let them talk about hoes, you can let them talk about all this stuff. But when it actually happens, you're like, oh my God, I'm so shocked. They talk about it in their music, like a lot of people.
Yo, anyway. I'll say this last thing before then we can move on. On Tory Lanez song "The Most High," he basically had a part in the song. And the video, again, you got to check the video out. That shit is phenomenal. Anyway, he's rapping like Slick Rick, right? And he said, "Never would I have seen the day that rap dudes is telling the cops to come for me." Right? Like,
I heard that,
bro. Like, most people are gonna hear that and be like, "Man, but like he did it though. Like, he should be taken for a crime." And it's like, well, believe whatever you want to believe. Tory Lanez is simply highlighting the hypocrisy in music. And while I do think he has a point, I think you guys need to really understand that there is a lot of hypocrisy in this industry, in the world, and you should not get caught up in that shit, man. Take a position and keep the same energy. Now, if you find out new information that changes your energy, stand on that. But don't just be flipping and flopping with the wind. Like, when the wind pushes you this way, oh, well, I guess I'm over here. Oh, the wind took me over. Oh, I guess I'm over here. No, stand on something. And just be firm. That's my only thing. That's what I don't like about people, especially online. And people are just so fucking wishy-washy.
It's so easy too. Like, for me, like, remember when we talked about this situation with Megan Thee Stallion a couple weeks ago? I purposely said if he is guilty of these crimes, then that's really bad. If That's all you gotta say. Like do the post. Nobody's gonna get mad at you that you did the post. Like do a post or talk about the music or listen to it. Nobody's gonna get mad at you, and just say if he's guilty of this crime or I don't necessarily believe him, because remember I told you I'm gonna be honest, I don't know who to believe, but if I were to guess, I believe more Megan than Tory, but I'm saying that's my belief. That's just my opinion from all this stuff. I'm not saying that's facts. That's just my opinion. That's it. What's wrong with giving an opinion about a situation?
And guess what? Everybody has an opinion.
Everybody has an opinion. And if I'm wrong,
come on.
If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. You know,
how is everybody getting upset at somebody else for having an opinion? It's crazy. But anyway, let's move on, man. Let's move on. I think we deep dived that conversation longer than I think we wanted to, but I think it was necessary.
It was a meaningful conversation. It was a meaningful.
For sure. Let's keep it pushing though.